Yo, what is going on, my dudes? Welcome to another RuneScape news coverage video. For this video, we got another design doc by ModJack regarding drop tables and spring cleaner with the mining and smithing rework. So without any further ado, let's jump right into the video. Let's go. Alright guys, bear in mind, everything we talk about in this design document is subject to testing and will change based on player feedback if they feel the need to. And I'll have a link to the design document down in the description below, so if you want to read it off in its entirety, you can go down there and check it out. So first off, there are two types of dropped items that will be replaced with this rework. These are smithable equipment, for example, rune plate bodies, iron swords, etc., those kinds of things, as well as smithing materials, things like ores and bars. So these types of things will be addressed differently and have different solutions towards them. The first thing we're going to be talking about is dropped smithable equipment. So all of these droppable smithable equipment will be removed from drop tables with the rework. This is partly to make sure that mining has the best source of smithing materials, but also because the level adjustments in the rework mean that old gear is going to be much less valuable than it currently is. So the drops will need to be changed to protect the value of the drop tables for PVMers. So they're going to be introducing a new item known as Salvage. Salvage will have an Alka value and will disassemble in a similar way to pre-rework drops, but it cannot be used to turn into bars with the spring cleaner, and it cannot be equipped. Salvage does not stack and is tradable. There's going to be 28 different distinct kinds of salvage divided between 7 different tiers and 4 different types. Let's talk about the tiers for a second. These 7 tiers are named after the 7 metals. They are named this way because they want them to be recognizable and associate with a particular tier of value. However, there's no direct mechanical relationship between salvage and its associated metal. Again, it cannot be spring cleaned into the associated ore as well. The tier determines the alk value of the item and the amount of components it can yield from disassembly. Later logical tiers, for example necronium, which won't be added but can be added if they need them for balancing and filling out drop tables. So here is a list of the different type of salvage, how much it alks for, the amount of components, and the junk chance. It goes currently from bronze to orichalcum salvage, and as I said, they could add necronium and up if drop tables need it or they find a reward space for it. So now that we have all the different tiers of salvage, we're going to look at the different types of salvage. So there are 4 different types: bladed, spiky, blunt, and plated. The 4 types between them cover all of the possible components that can currently be disassembled from smithable gear. So here you see the different list of salvage. Bladed can often give you base, blade, metallic, and rarely sharped, subtle, and dexterous. Spiky salvage can give you connector, spiked, crafted, and swift, precise, and light components. Blunt salvage can give you stave, head, smooth, and stunning, direct, and strong components. And the plated salvage can give you cover, plated, deflecting, and protective, heavy, and strong components. Existing drop tables will be altered by swapping out the equipment for the associated salvage. It will be of the same tier that replaces the item. For example, rune items will be replaced with rune salvage, and the type will closest match the item being replaced. For example, plate bodies will be replaced with plated salvage. Salvage has a value of approximately in the middle of the items of the category. It'll alk for more than gloves, but less than a plate body. This will make the problem of fixing so many drop tables tractable for Jagex, and again, they will replace all items with equivalent pieces of salvage. Now this means that there's actually going to be a buff to anything that used to drop gloves, but a slight nerf to anything that drops plate bodies, due to the fact that salvage does alk at somewhere as a middle ground between those 2 items. So in the case of large numbers being inconvenience, for example, some of the high tier bosses that drop large amounts of rune items, they don't want to go as far as noting those items and just giving them to you. Instead, they'll opt in for giving higher tier salvage to add more value. If necessary, like I said, they can create even higher tiers of salvage to make those drop tables worthwhile. So to quickly give you an example of how drops will be changed, here is a quick list. So an old drop of a rune longsword will then be a bladed rune salvage. A bronze plate body will be a plated bronze salvage. Mithril mace will be a blunt mithril salvage. And an adamant square shield will be a plated adamant salvage. So that pretty much encompasses everything in terms of dropped smithable items. We're going to shift gears now and look at dropped ores and bars. So to understand what's going to be happening with dropped ores and bars, we're going to have a look at a little bit of lore aspect for it. So metal ores and bars will be removed from the drop tables, and they're going to be replaced with a new item, dragon scales. These scales are the same scales on a metallic dragon. They're most commonly acquired by killing dragons of the same type, but they can be found on the hands of all sorts of creatures worldwide. According to the lore, rampant deflation of the value of gold caused by a widespread use of alchemy has caused some of the monsters to start using dragon scales as a proxy currency. Dragon scales come in different corresponding types to different ores, for example, runite, mithril, etc. In their natural state, they're too interwoven with biological material to be useful, and no one ever found a way to smelt the materials without destroying it. Enterprising humans have found a surprisingly simple solution. Exposing dragon scales to freshly oxidized ore of the same type causes the scales to petrify into the same ore. This can only be done in the process of mining, so dragon scales must be carried to mining sites in order to convert them. Strangely, dragon scales have been found that correspond to dragons that have never been verified to exist, such as luminite, orichalcum, and even nechrite dragons. Whether these scales were created individually by the dragonkin or some other experimenter, or whether the corresponding dragons simply haven't yet been found, is unknown. So let's talk about exactly what these dragon scales do, how they work. So each type of dragon scale stacks with its own type. All dragon scales are tradable. When you mine, each time a player acquires a piece of ore, if a person has at least one of the corresponding type of dragon scales, one dragon scale is consumed and an additional ore is acquired as the scale petrifies. This allows ore to be mined twice as quickly as long as the miner has enough dragon scales. Keep in mind that no additional XP is awarded if you consume a dragon scale and get an additional ore. Dragon scales will appear on drop tables, replacing bars and ores at a 1-for-1 basis. However, because the metal tiers are being squashed, we may replace ores and bars with higher tier replacements. For example, rune bars might get replaced with Bane or Anamica dragon scales on profitable drop tables. Metallic dragons themselves will have their guaranteed bar drops replaced with a number of dragon scales. So that pretty much encompasses how they're going to be changing bars and ore drops. We're going to move on to one of the biggest things you probably have concerns for, the spring cleaner. So let's check how that's being changed. So with the removal of smithing equipment from drop tables, the spring cleaner is going to lose a lot of its purpose and value. Dismantle mode will be tweaked and 2 new modes will be added, Disassembly Mode and Alka Mode. These 2 new modes will only work on salvage items. Looking at Dismantle Mode, in rarer cases where smithable items remains on drop tables, they may still want to drop arrows and bolts. Dismantle Mode will not work on items and provide bars. Also, salvage items will not dismantle either. Other non-smithable related items will continue to be dismantled for now, but this may change in the future as they look at the economy of other skills, but there are currently no plans to do so. So let's look at the new modes. Alka Mode. This is a new mode available to spring cleaners which have been upgraded to at least 5,000. In Alka Mode, any salvage that the spring cleaner activates is automatically alked and converted into coins equal to what it would have high alked for. No runes are consumed and no magic XP is awarded. 1 charge of the spring cleaner is used each time this happens. If a golden touch symbol is currently active, it takes priority and no charges are consumed. Alka Mode only works on salvage items. The second of the 2 modes is Disassembly Mode. Disassembly Mode is a new mode available to spring cleaners which have been upgraded to at least 5,000 as well. In Disassembly Mode, any salvage that the spring cleaner activates on is automatically disassembled. This does not cost any charges from the spring cleaner at all to do so, and Disassembly Mode will only work on salvage items. So that is the proposed changes to the spring cleaner, and that concludes the design document. Again, a link will be down in the description below if you want to read off everything for yourself. Let me know what you guys think about these proposed changes. They seem pretty sound overall, but let me know if you have any concerns or you think things should change in any way. I'd love to hear your thoughts. That is it for the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed yet and you want to stay up to date on all things RuneScape related, then hit that subscribe button. Anyways, I appreciate you watching. I am out. Peace.